My first question for you is, why did you enlist and how did you enlist? What was your thought process?
I enlisted because I was about to get drafted. It was around that time, and I enlisted so that I could select as something that I would utilize after serving, if I could. And so it was my aim to get into something involving printing, and it wasn't available. So I wound up in Army Aviation, which was a lot of fun. I could have done something after I finished my time in the service in aviation, but I was already in printing, and I had a job to go back to, so I didn't. So anyway, I enjoyed being in aviation in the Army. Got to do a lot of flying around and learned quite a bit, even though I didn't use it when I came home.
Yeah.
So that's about the gist of it. It was just the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Fair enough.
But it was still a possibility, you know.
So you lucked out.
If I had a choice, I would have gone to Italy. So, but anyway, I wound up in Fort Monroe, Virginia. It was commanded by more generals than any other fort in the country or abroad. I wound up being in charge of the area where we inspected aircraft on a regular basis. It's like taking a car for a sticker, and our conditions were very good, and the perks were very good.
What were the perks?
The perks were we would have a formation and go down when there was that auction would come up for the boats, and we would, just by numbers alone, we would have most of the boats, which we would strategically place in the hands of people who were in higher ranking and so on and so forth, leaving the boat for us. More so than we would ever have it anyway. So, and it was a great time. And it didn't cost us any money for gas, didn't cost us any money for food, and any fish that were caught were ours, and we would probably bring it to our own cooks and have them cook it for us. So anyway. It was a win-win situation no matter what. The proximity of Fort Monroe was very close to being in town, and the area that we were in was very friendly to the population on Fort Monroe. It didn't matter what your rank was. It was you're a big shot anyway, just being there.
So you said that the actual service that you fulfilled wasn't that exciting. What was exciting about the service?
What was exciting?
What was fun about being enlisted?
Going flying every once in a while. I mean, I flew up from Virginia all the way up to Boston.
Really?
Yeah, in in a single engine airplane.
Yeah,
That's pretty exciting.
that is pretty exciting.
And you know, we had windows that opened. So I mean, I could and did play with the pilot. Stuck my hand out of the window and caused the plane to move in one direction or the other. And cut that out, you know. But yeah, it really had its perks. We were 20 miles away from the Air Force Base, which is a very popular and still is today. We were within miles of the USS Enterprise, the United States Naval Base, the Air Force Base. We were in that area that we could visit any one of them.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to go to our own NCO club, non-commissioned officers club, NCO, and we could also go to the Air Force Base and use their NCO club. So yeah, we had a lot of perks, a lot of perks, and yeah. I'm sure it wasn't the same at every base. Yeah. It was quite different. When we were in basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, that's when you knew what being in the Army would be like. A lot different than it was when I was stationed at Fort Monroe, Virginia, which was, you know, like civilian hotels and yeah, pretty well taken care of.
So you've told me that you had an option to stay in the service after the 4 years that you were in. Why didn't you?
That group of guys that I was telling you about that were all gay.
Like the higher powered.
Yeah. The word was, John, if you re-enlist, you're going to wind up, I'll send you to Alaska.
Alaska?
Yeah. And it's always cold there, and it's not, you won't have any of the things that you have here.
No boats, no beaches.
No nothing. So you want to stay in? That's where you're going to wind up in Alaska. It's up to you. So no, I wasn't going to stay in anyway. I was going back in and work in printing. But yeah, and I'm sure they meant every word they said. I saw them ship people out just because they didn't like the way they looked at them. So yeah, you didn't want to mess these guys. They had too much power, and they didn't have to account for it.
These like higher,
just did what they, you know.
These high-powered officers.
Yeah. They were not of that rank, but they had control being in those areas. So, yeah, if they wanted to ship somebody out, they were gone. The only thing that we had that was very exciting and was when Russia was sending over aircraft and probably ammunition to what's that island off the coast of Florida? That's
Cuba?
Cuba. Yeah, they were sending all this stuff over to Cuba.
This was like during the Cold War, right?
Yes. And Kennedy said, "You get those out of there, or we're going to blow you to pieces." And the next thing you know, the ships were loaded and left back to go to Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had to, Fort Monroe being where it was geographically, they wanted all the command officers to be moved in other areas so that they couldn't retaliate to Fort Monroe. So those of us that were left there were just left there, but everybody else was moved around. And it was a hairy time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to get people's perspectives, like who were alive for presidencies back then. You just mentioned Kennedy. Did you like Kennedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was our president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You voted for Kennedy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My brother would campaign for Teddy.
Really?
Teddy was an asshole, though. No. Teddy was.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. And as grown men vacationing on Cape Cod, one of the things we did was go across that
bridge
and see where he would take women, go over the other side of the bridge, and shack up on the beach side. The woman that he had in the car with him, as the story goes, we kind of guessed at what actually happened. And the fact of the matter was that he had her drive. He knew that bridge.
Yeah.
And the bridge was, the height of the bridge from the base of it was about this high. She went over it.
Yeah.
And then he just left it there.
Yeah. So you're a John Kennedy guy. You're not a Ted Kennedy guy.
No, never a Ted Kennedy guy.
So when Ted ran for president in 1980, you were
no. I hated the bastard. No, he was an idiot. So
do you like Robert Kennedy? Because I know he ran like 60 something, I think, or 70, whenever before he died.
He was campaigning, when he was assassinated. Yeah.
You weren't a Robert Kennedy guy?
No, I wasn't a Bobby Kennedy.
You just one Kennedy brother. That's all you like.
That was enough. Well, there were too many of them. It was it's like, how would you like give any president? Well, let's say the one right after Nixon.
Ford?
Oh, that's right. It was Ford. Well, Ford was
an idiot.
Yeah, he wasn't too bright.
Jimmy Carter? So Jimmy Carter?
I couldn't stand Jimmy Carter. He had no business being there. He left people in Vietnam for times that they shouldn't have been there. There were dangerous times, and he left them there hanging. he didn't know what the hell to do.
Was there anything about John Kennedy that you liked besides I know the religion aspect was, you saying he was our president, and I know at the time that was that was something for Catholics really, to have someone represent them for once in the White House. But was there anything else about John Kennedy that sort of drove you?
He was likable.
Yeah.
He really was likable. And despite his accent, which, who else,
he talks like this.
Yeah. But he was likable. And when he was in the service, he did some heroic things.
He was in the service?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
John Kennedy?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had to do my homework.
You'll find that he was in command of I can't remember the name of the vessel, but yeah, you'll find it quite easily. Kennedy was a war hero. I'm trying to think of the name of the ship he was commanding. It was a small ship, but he was a hero. That's why I think he became so popular when he ran for president.
I think Kennedy is there's a few examples, but one of the only presidents of the past, from him onwards, that was like really, really popular.
Yeah, he was very popular. And LBJ probably had more to do with his death than anything.
You think so?
I think so, oh yeah. He hated him. He hated Kennedy. LBJ was not a nice guy.
You didn't like him?
I did not particularly like LBJ, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had something to do with Kennedy's death.
I think that with Kennedy's death, there's all these different conspiracies and everything, but I think one thing that's like people mostly agree on is that we don't know the whole story. At least, like there's something off.
Oh yeah, there is something.
There's something off.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't go deep into the rabbit holes or anything, but something's off.
Yeah.
It was too easy for a president to.
Well, and too many things happened, and the only one I feel sorry for is Jackie.
So I think another thing that's sort of interesting, because you were a voter, you were alive then. That's interesting to get some perspective on is like one of the first modern presidential scandals, Watergate. What did you think of Watergate at the time?
He got caught with his pants down.